Pull up a chair. Make sure you bring your trees. I got a story to tell. Now pay attention because this is a story that builds, okay? You need to know all of the components. The year was 2015. I was working in a government building. I had worked in that building previously before, and I met an older woman there. Let's call her Barbara, all right? Miss Barbara was an elder woman with long locks, very wise. At the time, I didn't know, but she was very witchy, okay? When I returned to the same government building in the year 2015, I was in a different department. And in that different department, I was around a group of people. They were young, a lot of women, and one man in particular. Let's call him Tony, okay? Now, Tony was the one who led the conversation about Miss Barbara when she was brought up, okay? He spoke about how she gave him such bad vibes, how he didn't trust her, she was a snake. I mean, even started talking about her grandchildren. Was talking greasy about this lady. Now I'm like, this the same Miss Barbara that I met when I was here last time. Definitely got no bad vibes off of her. Actually, she spoke life into me through a situation, so she always had my respect. And I know when people, to me, when they start talking, I just listen because I was like, something told me it was deeper. So one of the girls brought up the frequent trips that Miss Barbara took to New Orleans. Now that made my ears perk up. And they were like, yeah, she always going to New Orleans. I wonder why she going down there. I'm thinking, well, maybe she likes the city. But based on the experiences I had with her, I'm starting to build more of a profile of her, in my world. Now, I haven't seen her in years, but I'm like, when I see her, I'm going to speak to her. My, just like clockwork. We're leaving lunchtime or whatever. We happen to see her outside. Now, I guess there was a previous situation that happened where one of the young ladies there said something off putting to her that had the rest of the group laughing. And it was like kind of like a ridicule thing. I didn't laugh, but I even felt guilty by association because I was like, what just happened here, right? So I kept that in my mind. I said, that was an energy exchange right there. That's why I did not engage. We were literally walking this way. She was literally walking the opposite way. And when the words were exchanged, it was like this. And when Miss Barbara turned, she was like, what? And the way she looked at that girl, I said, yeah, I knew not to fuck around. But let's fast forward. Now, Tony was cool with all of us. We knew about his family. He spoke to us about his wife, his kids. He often spoke to us about the others there, the other people there that acted funny towards us. All of us were, black. That acted funny towards us. And, we were there for each other. So keep that in mind too. Slowly but surely, Tony started to act very differently and act differently in a way that made all of us take notice. It started where he kind of separated himself from the group. Like, okay, maybe he's focused on other things and really aligned himself with the same team members that he had spoken crazily about before. I noticed it, but I said, okay. The ladies brought it up to me, and I was like, yeah, I peeped that, but what can we say? The next day, we see him with Miss Barbara. Now, this is strange because he initiated that initial conversation about how bad her vibes were, was talking crazy about her grandchildren, all of that. But they were walking and kikiing along the same path I told you that we were on before when we had this energy exchange. But this time, it was very different. This time, it was the ladies and I was there, and it was her with him. And the look that she gave those ladies, oh, it had them shook because she was like, yeah, you see who he over here with. And I was just like, respect, tip my head, rap. Because, look, I don't want no smoke. I already know what's up, and I respect the architects, okay? Now, as time goes on, Tony keeps having containers of food. And finally, one day, I'm like, Tony, where you get that food from? He acts like he didn't hear me. So I'm like, Tony, completely ignores me. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I tell my girl, let's call her Alicia, I'm like, go over there, see if you can talk to Tony or whatever. He's eating the food, but he doesn't respond to her either. It's like he's in a daze. So at this point now I'm starting to pay attention. Now I'm like, okay, you were walking with this woman, Miss Barbara. Now you're eating food. I don't know where you got this food from. This came from someone's home. It's in Tupperware. Okay? I have a feeling it's not your wife's food, but and you acting like you just don't hear us, and you kicking it with the ops. Either you's a fake ass nigga, or I don't know. Bruh. Literally, it's one day I see him walking, and this is when I realized that he was like becoming a zombie. Like, she was slow. I'm not even gonna blame her. Something was slowly taking control of his brain. Now, it was rumored that the Tupperware, the food that he had, was food that Miss Barbara was giving him, which was very strange because he was the main one who said, I would never eat her food. You know, I think she be doing shit. I will never eat her food. But like I said, he was talking so crazy about her, right? And when I saw Miss Barbara, she just always had like this smirk on her face. And I would see Miss Barbara. Not long after that, I will always see Tony. And when I tell you it's in the eyes, it got to a point, his eyes, he was gone. Like, he was not there. Like, he was walking through work like a robot, just doing like, and he was still, it was almost like a humiliation ritual. He was still very much excited to speak to all of the people who were like pretending to be supervisors and they weren't, kissed up, snitch, all the office snitches. Like, he aligned himself with them. It was almost like he was humiliating himself, and he continued to ignore us. And Miss Barbara continued to smirk, and he continued to eat food. And I continued to know what was going on, but not really know what the fuck was going on. I ended up leaving a few months after, but I will tell you, Tony was never the same. Even when I left, he was so much in a daze, and he started losing weight too, because he was always kind of just kind of not buff, but just kind of bulky a little bit. You know, started losing weight. His edges started receding. Like, and all of this is within a span of like 4 months. Like, from like August to December or some shit. Like, the summer to the end of the year. It's not even a long period of time. And I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, by the time I left, the light was gone out of his eyes. He was losing weight, and he was losing hair. So I don't know, but I'm just gonna go over the variables. An elder, she was talked shit about. An energetic exchange happened where they tried to humiliate her. Not shortly after, the main contender in this said humiliation exchange begins eating mysterious food, begins mysteriously losing weight, mysteriously losing the light in his eyes, mysteriously aligning himself with the oppressors, and is just walking around like a zombie. She has ties to New Orleans. She spoke life into me. Told y'all I got paranormal stories. What y'all think about that? Just let me know. What y'all. Thank you if you stayed. Okay. And let me know if you would like more stories like this.